Hey everyone, I'm Rather Incoherent, and this is XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. We're going to be playing a very heavily modded campaign, and we'll get into what those mods are during the opening cutscene. For now, let's talk about the settings. We're going to be playing on Legend, turn off Beginner VO. For advanced options, I'm going to turn on Busy Skies, which lets UFO show up from the day one as opposed to after you get attacked. I'm going to be turning on Grim Horizon, which makes dark events permanent, and I have mods installed that will make it a push and a pull, where rather than the dark events just happening to you either for a month or forever, now there are events that you can go through and devote your own forces to turning them back off again, which is a lot more interesting than the way they were in vanilla. And for the starting faction ally, I'm going with Templars for a lot of reasons. In my opinion, Templars and Reapers are much better units than Skirmishers. Even with the mods I have installed revamping the classes, I think that's still true. And of the three, Templars are far and away the best at killing Chosen during the first retaliation, because that Chosen's guaranteed to be weak to your starting hero. Which is why I'm going for Templar overall, but it's pretty close between them and Reaper. Now, I won't be playing on Iron Man. I've tested the mod setup a lot to make sure everything's working, but I really can't know that it's fully stable until I play through an entire campaign. Now that said, we are playing on Honest Man. I'm not going to be save scumming, I'm not going to be restarting missions. It's just for doing science to figure out how things work, or for reloading due to mod issues or recording issues. We're basically playing on Iron Man, just can't actually click the button. And something that surprised me tremendously is integrated downloadable content is kind of the opposite of what it says. What I mean by that is if you unclick that box, it's going to actually make the content from all the DLC integrate smoothly, which is the opposite of what it seems like it should do. Because turning that off lets you build the DLC items immediately and it makes the rulers show up randomly. That sounds like it's been really thoroughly well integrated to me. So, I don't know what this means when it says integrated, but it's quite thoroughly mislabeled. Anyway, let's get into the opening cutscene and I'll start explaining the mods that I've got installed. In the description, I'm going to have a link to a Steam page that has all the mods I'm using and how I modified them. And at the end of this, I'll have credits for all the mods individually by author. But right now, I'm going to talk about all the most important mods that I'm using. First up, we have the Proficiency Class Pack. It's a mod that overhauls XCOM's classes, and it has a lot of sub-mods I have installed as well. The base 4 classes in the game have been removed, replaced with 6 new classes. I have a plugin for a 7th one, the Combat Engineer, that fits right in with the rest of them. But generally speaking, this rework has all the classes having 3 skill trees with more depth to them, more power in the early game and less power in the late game, to sort of fix XCOM's power curve. Because generally the problem with XCOM games is at the start of the game you're really struggling, and by the end it's sort of a cakewalk. And a lot of this mod setup that I'm using is trying to fix that. The point being that Proficiency Class Pack isn't just making the game more interesting with more choices, it's also helping to fix the power curve of the game. To match our character overhaul, we have a strategy layer overhaul and Covert Infiltration. It is an absolutely fantastic mod that I consider kind of core to the XCOM experience at this point. I don't really know where to start with describing it other than the words comprehensive strategy layer overhaul. The most important part of it, to me, is that it creates a much greater emphasis on mission choice and roster diversity. You realistically can't do everything you're offered, and you're going to need as many soldiers as possible because the more soldiers you have, the more missions you can actually go on. And those things together give you a lot more interesting choices on the strategy layer involving your soldiers and what missions they're going on. On the enemy side of things, I have a better advent of War of the Chosen. It's the most comprehensive enemy overhaul on the Nexus, or on the workshop rather. For a while I was debating between using a better advent or a whole slew of individual mods for different aliens. And ultimately the reason I've settled on a better advent is it's the only one that makes the game more diverse at Force Level 1. There aren't really Force Level 1 enemy mods. And better advent's alien diversity at Force Level 1 is what sold me on trying this. And I don't know how well other mods are going to integrate into it, so I want to finish a campaign with better advent before I add anything else on top of it. A better advent also includes the submod of better AI, which is an AI overhaul for the enemies that vastly increases how threatening they are. You have a lot less of sectoids wasting their turns and messing around, and a lot more being terrified of them because they might use first action mind control. Alongside a better advent, I'm running a better campaign plus, which does 2 things. First, it integrates a better advent enemies into all of the main story missions, and the second thing it does is it makes all of the pods in the game larger. Alongside a better campaign plus, I'm also running diverse aliens by force level. The way I've got it set up, it will give 2 50% chances for every pod to get an additional alien from Gatecrasher all the way to the end of the campaign. And then as the force levels get higher, it'll go up to either 4 or 5 or forget exactly total chances for an additional alien to show up. And this will give a lot of pod variety in terms of actual size. It won't just always be 3, 4, or 6. You'll get a lot of numbers ranging between there, and the maximum threat level goes up a lot. The reason I'm doing all of this is because I'm playing with 8-man squads. I'm playing with 8-man squads all the way from Gatecrasher. And the last of the big tactical level overhaul mods that I'm running is Yellow Alert. I'm not actually running the Yellow Alert reactions part of this mod, the main thing it does. I'm running it for its patrol pattern changes, where the AI gets a lot less predictable and a lot more dangerous in terms of how pods are moving around the map. On the subject of tactical layer stuff, there's one more mod I want to mention. This one's more minor than the others, but has a tremendous impact on the way gameplay feels, and that is Peek from Concealment. It changes the way stealth works so that if you walk up to half cover or more from higher elevation, you won't lose concealment when something sees you. And if you walk up to high cover on the same elevation, you won't lose concealment if they see you. You only have like 2 tiles of grace, so you can't just run through their vision to high cover or anything like that. What this does is it lets you walk up to the corner of a building or the edge of a roof and peek over it. And that lets you stealth the way that it seems like stealth should work. Whereas in the base game, optimal stealth means avoiding buildings or roofs and running down the middle of the highway, which is just nonsense. There are 2 more mods that have pretty big impacts I want to talk about. First, I've got the Mach X Initiative. It's been reskinned to be named Exalt, but it's really nothing like Exalt. They're a group of human soldiers allied with Advent that'll show up on missions. And these guys are going to be roughly equivalent to Tier 2 XCOM soldiers when they show up, making them terrifying at the beginning of the game and a lot less threatening at the end. It just adds a lot more diversity to missions that you have a risk of these guys showing up as a sit rep. And lastly, I have a Psionics overhaul installed, the aptly named XCOM Psionics overhaul version 3. It's pretty straightforward. Now instead of training a rookie to be a Psi operative, you can teach any soldier psionics. This is power creep over the vanilla game, but it's also the only version of psionics that to me feels natural and sensible. All the other psionics overhauls, while I like lots of things about them, end up feeling a little bit too gamey for me. So regardless of where the balance of psionics overhaul v3 falls, I like the way it feels the most. Anyway, that's enough mod talk. I'm sure there's dozens of things that I'll mention as I come across them in the game. But for now, let's just get into Gatecrasher. Alright, so getting into Gatecrasher, I'm going to talk about all the mods that I'm using as they come up. So first of all, we spawn in the corner, the facility's over here, and it's a different Gatecrasher than what we've been seeing. Covert Infiltration adds a new version of Gatecrasher with more enemies. A better Advent changes the enemies on that, and then... or rather, a better campaign changes the enemies on that. And then diverse enemies adds more enemies. So we're probably going to see 15 enemies or so on Gatecrasher, which is good because we have 8 units, there needs to be more of them. Next up, all of these characters are from a custom character pool. They've all been given Metal Gear style code names. Other than that, they're randomly generated. I modified their armor to be either a little bit better than what it randomly generated as, or to be thematically appropriate to their characters. On our opening team, our 8 members are Doll Eyes, Lead Coffin, Wretched Phoenix, Slasher Hawk, Blind Alpha, Liquid Danger, Lunatic Supernova, Filthy Colossus as our last man. And some of these names are going to be in-jokes disguised as Metal Gear Solid code names. Some of them are going to be references to other things. But all of them fall within that same naming structure. You can also see we have some UI mods installed. This is extended unit flags. It gives you a lot more information about who's going what, how much health they have is much easier to read, how much armor, all other stats are displayed. It's very, very handy. And while the Templar has been reworked, I really can't show it off too much in this because he'll just be running around and rending people in this mission. So, let's take our first move and see if we see anything worth noting. Alright, we do in fact. This unit is Trooper Heavy Officer. Heavy is just a trooper with 1 point of armor, otherwise identical. Oh, I should mention this. This is Quick Soldier Info. It's a wonderful mod. Shows you little pictures of all your soldiers, their names, how many actions they have left, and their classes. It's very, very nice.
Agreed.
And I could take this ambush here. It's a pretty good ambush if they stick around for me to get them from high ground. So I'll try to move up for that. However, I usually don't want to take ambushes on anything but the sectoid pod. The sectoids are so scary due to mind control that if you encounter them at max range, they deploy decently far back. You can very quickly end up in a situation where you just can't actually deal with them and they mind control something. And being Gatecrasher, I have no flashbangs, I can't counter it. Alright, it looks like they're still going to be in range for an Overwatch ambush if I want to go for it. And I think I do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Overwatch everyone and throw a grenade at these 3. And that probably kills all of them. And then we're going to wait around and Overwatch for a while, pull back a little bit to make sure if anyone does come in, we get as many Overwatches as possible. And if no one hears it, then great, we'll continue on our merry way. A big part of the reason I was considering going Reaper instead of Templar is because if I had a Reaper, I could still scout forward and make intelligent plays, but once I have a Templar instead, I'm never going to get stealth back, and as a consequence, we're sort of flying by the seat of our pants here, but I do think this is the right plan. Move up to here on this man with the grenade, get him as close to everyone else to avoid pulling if I don't have to. I believe everyone else has sight of something. Yeah. So, let's get all of our Overwatches in. I don't have Overwatch all installed just because it adds too many buttons to people and clutters up the UI a little bit too much. Tabbing and hitting 7. You really can't get over the fence? It's a hologram, sir. How can you not get it over the fence? It's not even a real fence. I could just take the shot. These shots are pretty bad, right? Like, it's 85 for this guy, but everyone else has, I think, a 20% penalty due to Overwatch. I think this is a terrible play without the grenade. Yeah, because if anyone lives, they can just flank lead Coffin, so I just have to Overwatch and wait now. Nothing to do this turn if I can't get that grenade in there. There's too much health. I will not kill it with Overwatches. Alright, so instead, we're going to start heading left, see if there's another squad down here capable of being ambushed. And if not, then we're going to start trying to thread the needle in and get top of the building instead. Because like I was saying earlier, I really would rather kill the sectoid pod. And it's looking like that's what we're going to be going for this time. This should be far enough over that I have no real risk of ever getting caught by that first squad. And they're probably going to continue in the same direction anyway. On most missions, I wouldn't be so confident in that, but on Gatecrasher, which I have played a lot during mod testing, I am pretty sure that is the case. And these last three can stay on high ground, since it's most of their movement anyway, and it lets us be better at a fight if we get into one. Yeah, we didn't see anything. So, let's get on top of this and see what we see from up here. Alright, we have a pod on the left. It's the med drone pod, gunslinger and a trooper, nothing else, not too threatening. I could move further up and try to get more vision. See if anyone else is just piled on top of them. It doesn't appear to be the case. And I think I'm just going to be sprinting up with everyone here. There's a chance there's a pod over here patrolling this way, so I'm not safe to be on this wall facing left. I should be safe here, though, pretty much guaranteed. And is there another forward spot I can put him in? No, that's dangerous because they could cut back in over here. I don't quite know where they are. Double time. And these last couple really just cannot get as far forward as I would like them to. Go, go, go. And we'll see if we pull anything this time. Or not pull anything, but see anyone new. I'm expecting to just see this pod continue patrolling away. And maybe someone walk into this corner, but not a lot of chance for anything interesting to happen this turn. Alright. There's a very likely a pod somewhere over here. Huh. Okay, this is the pod we already saw. They just patrolled all the way down. We know we're not going to get seen from the pod on that side. So I'm going to move here and see if there's somebody visible inside the building from here. Is the door open, though? No, door is shut. So it looks like we have a sectoid pod and another pod somewhere in the back of the building. It's a pretty large area. They could be, but based on the other two pods, I think they're probably stacked on each other in the back. Because this pod's been moving a while, they could cut in here, so I'm not safe to be looking to the right, and because they just hit a corner, they might also turn around. So I don't feel super safe in any of these positions, but it seems pretty unlikely for me to get caught on the left side if I'm facing that way. This position's not as good as I would want it to be, because people could walk through there. This one should be pretty safe. And I think on cover facing the left side, I'm not going to get caught. That does seem pretty safe. I don't think they can walk far enough to see me if I'm on this piece of cover either. And I'll put him up here on the left side as well. And if we don't see anything, we know we've got multiple units on the back, but I'm expecting someone to patrol in division on this around this corner. It's very rare that I don't see any pods until I get to the back. Alright, so they've cut in towards us like we were afraid they would, but I don't think they're close enough to actually impede our progress. Yeah, their vision doesn't even reach us yet. We'll be in the high ground and untouchable long before then. If we move up here, no reason not to. I don't think I'm going to see anything from here. But once I am here, I can move up. I think I want to be in this corner. I'm just routing it like that to maximize the chance that I don't use grace moves incorrectly. Whereas if I were running along the corner, it's possible someone would see me from like down here on the first move, second move, and then alert before I could be in safety. Alright, yeah, they aren't quite stacked up, but we do have 2 pods in the back. Sectoid pod is roughly where I would want it to be, given the choice. So now we just need to get everyone up onto the building and safe.
Got it.
We might be pinned up here for a good little while, though, on account of this pod down here, because there'll be some people who can't actually get up in time. In fact, I'm going to go this way with this man. Oh, I think that was safe. I think that was safe. He might see someone on the inside, but he should be safe anyway. I was a little bit sketchy about that. I wasn't really thinking about the routing. But now that he's done that, I should be able to make this move and see if anyone's on the inside of the building. I know they're not. I've seen all 4 pods. I know that move was safe. What am I talking about? Now, with this man, he literally can't get to a good position, but these guys shouldn't be able to catch him if he's just waiting at the ladder. By which I mean blocking the ladder, ha ha ha. That's the wrong place. I need to be on the left side in case they walk in the door. I guess they wouldn't have had vision of that anyway. And now we can watch where everyone moves, figure out what's going on. But I think at this point, I'm safely on top of the building. I'm just going to cut back to it once I'm overwatching the sectoids. Because I'm pretty sure that there's no chance of me getting caught from here. And it's just a matter of waiting patiently, which is a thing I should edit out. So, for me, this is probably going to be like 5 to 10 minutes. But for you, I will be ambushing the sectoids in about 10 seconds. Oh man, it could be really annoying depending on what their patrol path is. I'm hoping it's just back and forth behind the building. So right now the sectoid pod is walking around the building, this pod's still out here. I'm trying to get all my soldiers down over here in a position to ambush these sectoids. And it does showcase a problem you kind of experience with 8-man pods, which is if they're all normal human soldiers, it can be really hard just to find places to put them all in an engagement. Thankfully the med pod is back here, so I should be safe to move. If they move towards me though, they could just see this. The med drone frequently flies up in the air high enough to see over walls, so I don't think this is actually a safe move. Which is why I don't think I actually have a place of cover to put this man in. I'm just gonna move to this corner. I don't want to pull this pod, but I need to be sure it's actually safe. Well, alright. I'm not quite sure which flank soldier got spotted by that move. Oh, I was thinking that this man wouldn't be able to see them, but I was just wrong. He has a much further downward angle of vision than I thought. Oh, they just walked out way further than I thought, apparently, is what that heavy is telling me. Or not, because he's actually dead over here. Well, as long as I don't get shot instantly for being flanked when they saw me, this isn't the worst Overwatch ambush in the world. It does feel pretty sketchy pulling, I believe, 11 units in one Overwatch ambush and missing that many shots, oh no. We'll see how salvageable this situation is. Yeah, we've already used everything on that first batch. So we killed 3 units. What did we kill? We killed 2 troopers and a heavy. We got damage on the officer, that's very important. My Templar is all the way over here, which is not in range of the officer, but is in range of the sectoid. So we can slash him from full cover. He definitely won't die, though, is the issue there. I would really greatly prefer to be able to kill this man, but I'm just out of range for it. It is a guaranteed kill on any trooper in range of him, which does let me problem solve a lot easier than I might otherwise be able to. If I could kill everyone on the left side, that's a big ask. It's much more likely I kill everyone on the bottom side. I would like this gunslinger to be dead because he has face off, and even though he's not going to hit very hard, he is going to hit everyone. So first question is, can we get a kill on this officer? Unfortunately, if I use a grenade to do it, which is obviously the best way, it's guaranteed, I do destroy the loot. I'm going to take this move. No one else is ever taking this position, so it seems like the right thing to do. And let's see what this explosive barrel got a target on. Yeah, it kills the officer. I think I'm going to give up on that loot. He's in full cover. I could spend a grenade trying to, like, precisely target. He'd still be in half cover, though. It's never, ever going to be good. Yeah, there's just no way to kill him that's clean other than a grenade. So there was no good place for this man who was originally down here. In retrospect, I should have had him up here, but I was trying to avoid having line of sight to this, but as that pod was moving closer and closer, it no longer mattered, so I should have just put him up here. It's a bad sign when my planning is now reminiscing about mistakes I've made in the past and not planning for the future. I think I just have to give up on getting full loot. That's fine. So let's take this shot, kill the officer, be sad about it. And we're probably going to be killing, or at least coin flipping to kill on this man with a grenade. I would like to get in full cover on doing that. I think I've got a couple of people who can move down over here to full cover and throw grenades for me. Because my plan is to reposition and fight the bottom half of this and clear that out. I believe we know the last pod is around here somewhere, so moving down is actually safer anyway. So yeah, I'm going to move this man down. I'm also going to move this man down. And they're both going to throw grenades at the Advent Trooper and Gunslinger just below them. So let's clear out their cover. Hopefully not kill this man, otherwise we lose the loot. Alright. Oh, right, that cover's indestructible. I forgot that fact. Well, it's not indestructible, but with base grenades and no perks to increase their damage, it may as well be. I can still get rid of the full cover here and deal damage to them. So it's probably still worth throwing their grenade. It's not like I'm not committed to it already anyway.
Grenade out.
May as well be doing this. We are pretty vulnerable to a flank from this trooper, though. Something I hadn't really fully thought about. If I'm here, the sectoid will just take the flank shot on me. If I'm here, the sectoid doesn't have a place he can move to flank me. It's actually a really good spot. You know, ignoring this trooper. Pretending he doesn't exist, it's a really good spot. So, am I allowed to pretend he doesn't exist? Is he in range? Oh, is he barely... Alright, he's in range. And I should be able to kill him and get the momentum proc, so where do I want to run to? I think just behind this heavy cover is going to be the best place for him. So, right there. Yeah, I can use the Templar to guarantee clean this up and give myself that bottom position I'm looking for. Which gives me a lot of good flanks. I might not be able to clean all of them and still take some damage, but this is seemingly necessary. How many people do I have left? I've still got 4 soldiers left. That's good. I basically need all of them. This is the one who can take this position, and he's going to be taking it. It's just a matter of how good it is based on whether or not he lands his shots. So we have a 74 to kill on the Gunslinger or a 70 on the Trooper, and the Trooper has a damage roll on top of it, but there's no one else taking the shot on the Trooper. Where is everyone going to end up? That's actually a question I should have an answer to already. That's a good piece of cover, and both of those locations are good pieces of cover. So this man can move, I just don't know where I'd even move him to if I did. So he has a 60 and a 55. How do you have a 65 on that? What? Excuse me? You have a minus 45 from high cover. Huh. Apparently good angle is just a default feature. It's because I'm close to flanking him, which isn't true, but it means that the angle I'm at relative to his cover is pretty slight. Which is, extraordinarily untrue. I only see him because he's leaning out. He's in, like, complete invisibility to me if he wanted to be. But I have a 65 here, and I don't think anyone else can have a good shot except for this man out here, so... Alright. That cleans this up a lot. I think the other man up top has another good shot on the Gunslinger. He has a 60 on the Gunslinger or a 55 on the Trooper. This position, is it flanking the Trooper as well as the Gunslinger? No. So I may as well take the Gunslinger shot here.
Target eliminated.
And now I can move back here on this full cover Ooh, is it actually safe though? Preview LLS, not LLS, preview movement. I think I can only do it on people I can see, but I can do it on him. He can't reach this location. That's really important because he'd be able to see through. If he were able to step here, he'd be able to lean over and see through the window to the other side to where I'm going and flank me. He'd actually have to be able to get all the way to the other side of the window. I don't think it'd be a flank from the first part, but this should be safe. I still have sight on the sectoid, which despite everyone having flank shots on is not getting shot. Kind of annoying. Okay, so that's a 55, and this other soldier is a 60. No one has good grenades. I might just use the other soldier to overwatch here. That's imagining I hit, which is farcical. Let's not pretend. They're both shooting. I've been oh!
How many is that now?
Apparently I haven't been way too lucky. I do get to overwatch here, or consider doing something else. Next turn, I'm probably going to use an actions on one of these soldiers at the lowest part, just grab the loot and be safe with it. So I think for movement, I'm going to be moving the Templar to here. Let's quickly take a check on where that sectoid can move. It can actually get a flank shot on him if I move there. Wow. He is a speedy guy. He's not. That's only 12 mobility. It's just more than I thought it was. If I can get here, that's safe. It's only half cover, which sucks, but it's the only place I can be that's not likely to get flanked and also moves me towards the sectoid in any capacity. Now up here, I can overwatch, or I can try to do something proactive. Overwatch shots are just such bad odds with rookies. Like, the best shot I see right now is a 63. It's going to lose 20% for being an overwatch shot. And I'm not in range for good grenades, so I may as well just reload and shoot the drone. Work towards killing it later. God, these are, like, the Overwatch trap was pretty trash for getting all 7. Alright, they're here. Congratulations. I was hoping they were on the other side running towards us, but unfortunately they came this way. I think we're going to try to wrap all the way around the building this turn then to break line of sight. That might be pretty hard depending on where the sectoid goes. We got really lucky with our actual shots though. What I was saying before that pod showed up is even though our Overwatch trap wasn't very good, the shots we had during our turn were great. Although that's unfortunate. She didn't die, though. I don't think she actually can die to one hit, thinking about it. I'm pretty sure... Oh, that's really unfortunate. Don't you dare. That's so unfortunate. The Templar is able to almost completely kill him in one action. So, of course, he's the one who gets targeted with Mind Spin. At least he's not mind-controlled. It could be worse. That is definitely flankable, so I want the sectoid dead this turn. I'm just not sure how possible that is. These spots are now death sentences. First things first, preview movement. They can't get up top without dashing. That's what really matters. So on this side, we only have one trooper, a med drone, and a sectoid. This would have been so much easier with the Templar actually doing his job. I am still going for loot here. As mad as that sounds, he's so far out of the way of solving problems that I just want him to be over here. Relatively same size as the Templar, working together with them. I'm going to break line of sight entirely with a second move, I think, but let's make sure he's never staying there. I'm not dangling him like that. So yeah, we'll be moving him to here with a second action. I might have considered moving him all the way to the other side, but that's not a big deal. Dull Eyes is able to get close and throw a grenade, but I don't think the tree goes down in one grenade. I'm going to move to here with Lunatic Supernova. He's pretty far out of the way right now, but if he can drop a grenade on top of this man in his cover, that's actually incredibly helpful. If it kills, that's great. If it kills the cover and deals 3, that's also fine. Alright, not as good as I want it to be, but it's tolerable. I don't think he's flankable because this vehicle is blocking line of sight, so that's good for Slasher Hulk at least. I can drop here on this side of the door and then just shoot the trooper. The med drone's probably stunning somebody, that's fine. The sectoid might just kill a man. I'm hoping he goes for mind control because at this point it's become increasingly apparent that I can't deal with the sectoid. However, that is pretty damn optimistic of me to just be like, the sectoid will probably go for mind control with a million flank shots available. But it's just like, we aren't actually able to destroy the cover. Let me go on Dull Eyes. I'm going to try. It's not going to work. It's actually so far away. It's like at the edge of grenade throwing range, so I can just hop on the other side of this cover, I guess, to do it.
Heading there now.
But I'm like 100% sure this tree does not actually die to a grenade. I feel like I've done this several times in Gatecrashers and always been sad about it. It does go down to half cover. I'd like to move here, but I might attract a lot of fire doing that. Alright, I'm going to try to take a high ground shot at the sectoid. It's not the best, but it's... like, this is the it's a 40%. I'm just going to finish off the drone so that no one gets stunned. We've been getting really lucky with the shots we actually land. Jesus. If this is one tile short, I'll be very sad. But I don't think this man is ever able to reach the grenade all the way to the sectoid. It's surprisingly close. We got two soldiers down here that both have terrible shots on the sectoid. We're just going to overwatch both and see what the sectoid does. Everyone else is probably not going to get a kill. They're pretty far away. We're all in full cover relative to them. So I think we're pretty safe to this pod we just pulled. It's just a question of what the sectoid does. He has a lot of options that don't do anything useful, and then he has shoot gun at flanked enemy, which probably kills somebody. But with 8 soldiers, there was no way I was ever positioning super well. Did I just land a shot and destroy my own cover in the process? No, let's just cover next. Good. Come on, get to it. I want to see the main event. What's the sectoid doing? Getting in full cover, taking the shot, isn't he? He lived! Alright, I just accepted that we weren't getting a full 7 min this turn, or this mission. Alright, fix this problem. Make that stop, please. Imagine if he was here last turn. Still though, this is fine. I've taken 1 relatively severe wound. I've missed 1 piece of loot, but that is completely fine. This sort of Gatecrasher can be a clusterfuck, to say the least. I think I just want to move him back towards the enemy, so I'll move forward into this full cover. Dull eyes. I did not realize how dangerous this position was, because there could be shots from like right here, here. I really should have checked. I think the admin officer might have been able to take a position on this wall, see through the windows, and shoot her. Ooh, that would have been terrible. Also, apparently I've taken 2 wins. I just forgot Dull Eyes got hit at some point. We got an Overwatch all the way back here, which is going to be pretty hard for us to break. Is that a window in the 2nd floor? It is. I don't know of any way I can make use of that. I don't think I can arc my grenade through to him like I'm hoping I can. But that is a window. So I think at this point, it's probably for the best to have Dull Eyes and Liquid Danger stay in the back, maybe hunker down. I could reload an Overwatch on some of these people. I think Liquid Danger literally can't leave. Okay, he can, but he can't leave to full... He can't, okay. I can get both of these to full cover and hunker them. I'm going to be doing that. That's just the way to keep these people alive. Thanks, Indicator. I'm glad it was an 8% and he's alive, but I would have appreciated it if I had known that. He was right here, right? Yeah. That shouldn't have revealed any line of sight, because he should be leaning from here to here anyway. I understand why the Indicator's confused, because I'm confused. He's alive, though. We got what we needed. Alright, so the Templar's done his thing and killed the sectoid. These two are both hunkered down in full cover as far back as possible. The rooftop isn't really safe, but I'm going to move here and see if I have eyes on the ground level. I think I take my 40% here. It's a 2/3 to not kill, or a 1/3 to not kill, because it's 3 to 5. That's like a 28% to kill. And Overwatch feels pretty weak. Oh, a relevant thing that I haven't mentioned yet, you'll see low cover is worth 30% defense. I have the Long War cover mod installed so that low cover is 30% and high cover is 45, up from the base game's 20 and 40. It makes combat a lot less, you know, low cover is instant death and a lot more tactical. You still never want to be in low cover. 15% more chance to be hit is terrible, but it's not quite as damning to be in low cover. God, that shot's so bad. Yeah, I'm regretting not moving this man here. I'm gonna do it now and see what he gets eyes on. Nothing. I want to move here, but then I'm flanked by the med drone. Can we deal with that med drone this turn? Oh, I do not want you guys under my control. That's real sketch. You have 7 health. You actually can't die to a trooper's reaction shot. This heavy shot him? I swear to God, we saw this trooper shoot when I moved this man, but this Overwatch is gone. I'm still going to route into his vision in case the UI is just lying to me again. But this man has 7 health. I can actually just break Overwatches with this scientist. It's safer than my soldiers. Got this one too. Yeah, I'm just safe to do this. I'm not safe to do it. Apparently the officer was an Overwatch and I didn't know. But even if he crit, he couldn't have killed, and this gets me moving him away. This way I can use them to break Overwatches intentionally. I don't have to worry about them just having the enemies walk up to them and shoot them. Gives me some pretty good moves. I can move to here and throw a grenade. Yeah, now that I'm free to move these soldiers, it changes the situation a good bit. This has a shot on the med drone. The med drone's honestly not threatening. Let's deal with the people who can actually kill me first. Oh, and another thing that's obviously changed. You start with 2 grenades because you have an extra utility slot and grenades are no longer uniques. That's only a 50%. God, that's miserable. Huh, I did not know assault rifles had weapon range penalties. I wonder if that's true in the base game. I haven't played base XCOM 2 in so long. It's always funny to come back to a game after a long hiatus, and you're like, I don't know if this is a mod or base game feature that I've forgotten about. Does anyone else have a shot on him? You easily could. This is likely a better shot on the Metroid anyway, so let's use this one. The officer's flanked from here. But he's never killed by that, so I take the 64 to kill the Medron. Oh, it's not even a kill because it has armor still. What is this shot on? 60 on him. Can I get a grenade down here? I can't get a grenade down here. It's his last grenade, but that's fine. He's on high ground. I want to shoot with him anyway. All right, high roll the damage there, so we're okay. I think that means this is just 100% safe at this point. They can keep moving closer towards a flanking position with Filthy Colossus. Which comes back to this man who I keep being indecisive about. I've got a 50% shot here. I'm thinking just reload and take the 50-50. Like, I obviously want it to be better than that, but there's no good cover to move up to. Again, everyone's in full cover except for, well, no, just everyone is in full cover, but these two in the back are hunkered down additionally. A 50-50 is terrible, but there's nothing better I can do. I forgot to reload. Anyway, never punished. Alright. Congratulations, you're very far away. I can just break that with my scientist, it doesn't matter at all. Oh, nice 27. Not happy about it. Alright, so at this point I have 3 soldiers pretty severely wounded. You'll notice that the Advent Trooper's gun deals 3. It's just enough to be terrifying. I can back off with this man if I wanted to. I can also go in super hard. What's my Templar in range of? Stark nothing. This guy's dead as soon as my Templar gets his hands on him. I can't just slam open the door to this man during a move. I have to actually walk up to it. I'm gonna move my Templar to here. I'm gonna keep playing with the intent of just making sure nobody ever dies. So I'm gonna move Filthy Colossus back here, out of line of sight. Can I win this with 5 soldiers? I better. There's only 2 enemies left. I can move to here, pulling the Overwatch, and then into full cover up top. Even if the Overwatch does hit, which it probably won't because I'll be in cover when it goes off, I believe. Oh well. Yeah, 33% to hit anyway, but it doesn't matter if this person's wounded at all. The Overwatch is gone now. I'm free to move around, and he should have, I think, no way of getting up to the roof to take a second shot at her. Speaking of, I'm gonna move this person up to the roof so that they can pull Overwatch's next turn. I'm just gonna stay hunkered on both of these wounded characters, which does limit my tactical options a lot, but I just want to make sure I don't lose a soldier. The officer does actually hit for 3 to 4. He's a coin flip to kill people when he does land his shots. I'm out of grenade range at the minute. I can get into grenade range if I'm willing to give up full cover. I could also just sprint people onto the roof. If I'm here, do I have vision? Yeah, so that's a high ground shot. I've blown up ladders, so I don't think I can get a high ground shot from here. I'm going to take half cover and throw this grenade. It's my... Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. A crit does still kill my soldiers, even though they only hit for base 3 on troopers. Still, I'm going to go for killing the officer, because at this point, I'm not able to break line of sight anymore, even if I go for something else. Alright, let's get our high ground shot from this man and see how it goes. Come on, Lunatic Supernova, you got this. Will he even have line of sight? Right. Yeah, this is definitely not any mistakes on my end. Oh, he's not even leaning out anymore, so he's not in vision. Just reload Overwatch. I guess reload Overwatch here as well, since he doesn't have any bullets in his gun. I can move to here in half cover. That might discourage the trooper from moving in ways that lets him have this flank shot. Then again, Overwatching might do the same thing. Alright, so he just marked, which is boding ill. It sounds like this trooper's going to run for the flank. We do have Overwatch support. Nice. I wasn't actually expecting them to do their job. Alright. That has been a sloppy, terrible Gatecrasher, but I believe we're finally at the finish line. I think I can move up to this half cover spot, throw a grenade through the window, and take out the officer's cover. We're about to find out. We could also just coin flip and kill him. We did not, but we did get his cover. So that'll be that, unless we really mess this up. We don't have vision from here, which is awkward. Let's try to find somebody who can take a shot that isn't going to be taking it from a position of being flanked. Okay, we can get a high ground shot from here, and we're not actually just in the open taking it. 76 to avoid any further hassles. Got him. Alright, that was a clusterfuck. That was one of the worst successful Gatecrashers I've had, but we made it through it. Let's see how long those wounds actually last. The Templar's not wounded. That's really good news. Alright, so I may have rewound time just a bit. The result was obviously fine, but I realized there's a mod I've installed that I just am not used to using, and I'd like to show it off. Unfortunately, this time I did miss my first shot, so now we're in Operation Stand in the Open and shoot at them. Alright, this timeline's RNG is a little bit worse. Alright, can the Templar land a cross-map pistol shot? Because we're running out of options here. Yeah, obviously. I was about to have to reload the save again. So, the kills distributed differently, but I have this mission debriefing mod, which lets you go through and see how much everyone did. 1 kill, 6 damage, missed half his shots, didn't land an Overwatch. 2 kills, 13 damage, missed half his shots, never landed an Overwatch. Unlike Wretched Phoenix, who was apparently the reason we won the mission. He didn't get MVP though. He did get most exposed and most assist. I wonder who got MVP and for what? Close range and heavy hitter makes sense on the Templar. We have 20 damage dealt over 3 kills, 4 out of 5 shots hit, 3 out of 3 Overwatches. Yeah, Blind Alpha just doing serious work. Also, I don't know that anyone was particularly sneaky, but if you say so. He's an overqualified rookie. Kid's got an attitude on him. I really like that he has simultaneously not bad kid and overqualified. And then we have Liquid Danger coming in with frankly terrible stats. And Lunatic Supernova doing alright. So 3 wounds is a bit rough, but honestly it's not the biggest deal. I think they'll be healed pretty quickly. I've never seen Gatecrasher wounds take that long to heal for some reason. And more importantly, since we have Commander's Choice on and our Templar didn't take wounds, it's just 3 squaddies we don't have access to. Or it might have gone up to 4 actually. Unfortunately, you can't see everyone from the mission reward screen anyway. But I also usually don't actually promote them there. I promote them when I'm going into missions. Oh, I didn't mention it at the time. Anytime I got loot, I instantly picked it up. I have a mod to skip that animation. Apparently we've got an Illyrium core and an Advanced Bipod. Advanced Bipod is really interesting. It grants weapon range and reduces penalties for squad side and the like. Gives you 1 less mobility. That's really cool. And for the new Gatecrasher, you start with an engineer and a scientist. And there should be various tutorials popping up. I'll always leave them on the screen, but I mostly know how Covert Infiltration works, so I won't be reading them out loud, unless it's relevant to explaining the mod. This one is informing you that there is a strategy overhaul in place, and you should probably be aware of that.
This ship together, Doctor.
That's all we've got.
So, hopping into the barracks, we have 4 soldiers tired at 9 days. We have 3 gravely wounded at 14 and 15. And we have our Templar. Let's go take a look at how he's doing.
My people understand.
His cape freaked out a little bit there.
Commander, the elders see
So, how much AP does he have? Base 15, so he's just barely got his rank up. All 3 of these abilities on his first tier are very, very good. Volt is guaranteed damage against mechs, Psystrike is guaranteed damage against organics, Parry is, instead of moving, you guarantee you don't take the damage. I'm gonna be going for Psystrike. The main reason is because Psystrike is going to disorient as well, so it's a guaranteed point-and-click break mind control. And in the early game, like I've been saying, I'm terrified of sectoids. So we're gonna be taking Psystrike for sure. Later on, I would not be surprised if I spent AP on at least one of my Templars, whichever one I decide is going into the A-team, which is probably going to be Slasher Hawk, he's my first one, getting Parry and Bolt in addition to this. And looking at all of these options, dear lord, he rolled everything. He has Lightning Reflexes, that's really, really good. Templars with Lightning Reflexes are able to break Overwatches, and Templars without play completely differently as a consequence. Did he roll every single grenade perk? Like, surely this is all of them? I don't know that I would ever spend this much AP on one soldier. Because this guy's looking like a black hole of AP. I might want to do the combat intelligence mission on him. Just to get him getting more AP to spend on all of this. Because, like, yeah, he has tack rigging and bomb belts. He can carry 2 additional grenades. If I wanted to, he could throw them 30% further with 1 tile to their range. And he could do it as his first action without ending his turn. Like, this character might be a black hole of AP, but it seems pretty worth it. I'll definitely be getting Lightning Reflexes as soon as I can. The rest of it, I don't know about, but it's definitely interesting that we have that much stuff going on with him. I almost just left the screen. Now is a great time to talk about the way the characters have been overhauled. We're going to be starting with the Templar because he's the only class we actually have right now. Every class has something like this mechanic, Psionic Conduit, where it scales up as the character goes up. At rank 1, you get level 1. At rank 3, you get level 2. At rank 6, you get level 3. And for Templars, that means that their stored energy maximum is going to go up by 1 at those ranks. They also start with energy at level 2, and they get a progressively higher just chance to deflect incoming attacks. They've also been reworked. They now have Empower, which has an effect with all of your abilities. For instance, with this Psystrike, if you empower it, you can see that you use an additional energy, and now it can stun them instead of disorienting them. They also have Brand, which is a point-and-click debuff that makes enemies more likely to be hit and crit. And of course, Rend, guaranteed hit with melee. And I'll be going through each tier and talking about it as we unlock them. Talking about the class as a whole is a little bit too much. And like I said earlier, Parry is more or less the base game Parry. It's going to be doing the same business, except it's not passive anymore. It's a thing you do by consuming energy. And Volt is really just the mech version of Psystrike. Now, getting to my other soldiers, I don't promote them until they get to a mission normally, but this time I'll promote them now, just to talk about all the classes that we have going. In terms of the classes I want the least, because they're the ones I'm going to give gravely wounded stats to. I don't really care about Tech Specialist that much in terms of early value, so I'll be making one of them a Tech Specialist. Congratulations, Doll Eyes. With Tech Specialist, you can see Protocol Packages gives you a bunch of abilities that come with Tech Specialist normally at level 1. Then at level 2, you get more abilities, Haywire Protocol and Repair. At level 3, you get more charges of them and they recharge faster. They have the ability to hack just like they originally did. They have the new ability Failsafe, which gives a 15 bonus to hacking for 1 action. And they have Aid Protocol, which I believe was already covered here, wasn't it? Yeah. And their weapon choice is now between the Cal 7 Bullpup that skirmishers run or the Sniper Rifle. I can't imagine running a Sniper Rifle on them. And for utility items, right now our only choice is double frags on everybody. Next up for characters I really don't care too much about getting running immediately. I kind of like everyone else, to be honest. I don't mind having way too many combat engineers or sappers. Actually, there are 2 classes I specifically plan on stacking missions on. By that I mean covert ops missions, I'll get into that more later. So making additional versions of those classes would be a good choice, and those classes will be Marine and Assault, so we'll make those. So let's start with Marine. The Marine is your basic mid-range infantry character. Their fire discipline lets them take 2 shots in a round, sort of. The first shot no longer ends your turn. The second shot has to be used on reaction fire like Overwatch or Suppression. But you'll get better at it as time goes on, and you'll have other abilities interacting with it that lets you just full on take a second shot if you want. They also gain the ability to set a threshold, and they won't take reaction shots under that percentage, which is fantastic. A lot of the time you take an Overwatch shot and you shoot at them the moment they start moving and they're still in full cover. They also have a flat 10% aim bonus on reaction shots. This goes up each rank. And at rank 3, level 2, they get an additional ammo, which is useful because they obviously consume a ton of bullets. Sustained fire is what I was just talking about, where they can shoot first and then Overwatch or Suppress, or Reload. And Suppressive Fire has a lot of text that just says you can suppress 1 person or zone suppress, and it does different things depending on whether or not you have a rifle or a cannon equipped. And our last wounded soldier, Filthy Colossus, gets to be an Assault. So, their scaling ability is CQB Dominance. There's a radius around them that scales up over time from 4 to 6 tiles that inflicts a debuff on nearby enemies, giving them penalties to defense, crit hit chance, and crit hit chance, starting at 5%, scaling up to 15%. And while that's all pretty minor, the biggest thing is that attacks against targets that close cannot be dodged or grazed, which is much, much more important than any of the debuffs, to be honest. They have Run and Gun, of course, but it has a 5-turn cooldown now. You can reduce it by equipping different weapons, we'll get into that in a second. And you have Slash, run up to him, hit him. In the base game, I was not a big fan of Slash, and to some degree I'm still not. But with Honed Edge giving you 15% chance to hit, and coming over to Loadout, your sword also giving you 20% chance to hit, you can actually get to 100% chance to hit as a corporal on your assaults, which makes melee a lot more viable. And you can see that you can equip a much weaker knife to get a lower cooldown on your run and gun. It also lets you blue move attack with your melee weapon, but that does not come up very often. You can also switch out your shotgun for a bullpup, which will have slightly better range, more mobility, and a shorter cooldown on run and gun. But again, I usually just stick with shotgun and sword and accept run and gun has a very long cooldown. There is merit to running a bullpup for the mobility, absolutely. But especially early when it's rolling to even kill a basic trooper, it's just not worth it. We already talked about the Marines, let's go talk about the other half of the base game heavy, the Sapper. I actually had to go look it up. It's not called a heavy in XCOM 2, it's called a Grenadier. But Marines got most of the stuff you think of Grenadiers as doing in terms of using their cannon. Over here for the Sapper, they don't even have access to a cannon, they use assault rifles or shotguns. I almost always go with shotguns, because if something's far away, I'm not going to be shooting it with this guy, I'm going to be using grenades. And you've already seen there, I started with a grenade pocket. Explosive Ordnance is their scaling ability. It gives you a grenade pocket, and it gives you more environmental damage. Each time you hit the next level, you get an additional charge on the item in your grenade pocket. It doesn't work on things like freeze grenades now. And you also get more accurate firing rockets. And it gives you a chance to critically hit at level 2, and more environmental damage and base damage at level 3. So basically everything you think of as being mandatory to a Grenadier comes baked in with the Sapper. Launch Grenade is really just saying they have the grenade launcher. They also come with Defensive Mine. It's a free action, deals 4 to 5 damage. You have to lay it very close to you, and it'll go off whenever somebody moves through it. Somebody who's not on your team, rather. And Sappers, being the cover destruction class, are incredibly valuable and incredibly strong. Next up for Wretched Phoenix. Because we just talked about the sapper, let's talk about the combat engineer. The combat engineer, as you can see, comes in holding a cannon, which I'm going to be changing immediately. He can use a cannon or a shotgun. My issue with the cannon is that it comes with a mobility penalty. And for pretty much any class, that's a problem, but especially for the combat engineer, it's a big problem. And the reason for that is because they need to get into position for the gauntlet, which gives them the flamethrower ability. So for the chemical engineer, for the combat engineer, you get chemical mixtures. It gives you the ability to use the gauntlet, which is a flamethrower rocket launcher combination. You have 2 charges of flamethrower and 1 charge of the rocket launcher baseline. You also just start with blast padding and +2 ablative health. At level 2, you get Napalm X, which lets your flamethrower disorient and panic enemies, and more ablative health. At level 3, your gauntlets now deal +1 damage, so do the fires they set, which I assume means they're burning debuff. And you get Quick Burn, which lets you have a cooldown ability that's a free action that makes your next flamethrower use not cost 1. And of course, more ablative health. Moving on to their next ability, they have Suppressive Fire. With a shotgun, I'm pretty sure they don't have Suppressive Fire, but the mobility loss of the cannon's a bit too much. I might stack some mobility on a covert operative over the course of the campaign, like 3 or 4, not that much, so that I can use a cannon and still be a little bit faster than normal. And that would actually be pretty good, because Suppressive Fire is really good, but you need to be able to position for the flamethrower, and the cannon doesn't let you do that very well. They also have the same defensive mine ability, and of course they have Incinerator, which makes their flamethrower even better than it would be on somebody else, not that anyone else has one. Combat engineers really are a Swiss Army knife class. You can basically put one in any squad and feel good about it. You're never going to point to them and say, hey, this is the reason the squad's not working. Which leaves our last 2 classes for Blind Alpha as Field Medic. That's not true. As Marksman. Oh, and Field Medic. Well, with a name like Blind Alpha, I don't feel like I can give him a support role, so let's make him the Marksman. So, his scaling ability as a Marksman is Precision Targeting. It gives you the Brace ability. Brace basically makes your sniper rifle work the way you want it to work. It reduces the aim penalties from squad sight, reduces the target's chance to dodge, and gives you an increased crit chance against unflanked targets, and that just scales up as you rank up. If you aren't braced, you aren't doing anything with your scaling ability. And coming over to the Brace ability, once you're in cover, you use 1 action to brace. It doesn't end your turn, but your rifle takes 2 actions to fire, and when you move, it breaks the brace. But as long as you're in the same position, you can get all of those benefits from your scaling ability, and it's also the reason that your sniper rifle works in squad sight to begin with. You also have the Hollow Targeter, but honestly, I never run this thing. I always switch it for a pistol because of the utility that having a 1 action to shoot weapon provides. If you only have the sniper rifle, there's a lot of spots where your sniper doesn't do anything. And they start with Phantom. They have individual concealment from the word go. Over here for the sniper, you can see that they can switch out for the Vector Rifle that a Reaper would run, but again, it's rolling to kill normal enemies. So even though it gives me a bonus to mobility, and it's able to fire without spending 2 actions, it's not killing anyone in 1 hit, so I don't want it. Being able to guarantee a kill if you're landing the hit is very, very important. And for our last class, let me double check that I haven't gone crazy, it is the Medic. So Lunatic Supernova is actually a support player. Of course he is. Medical Specialist is great. It gives you a free medkit charge, and then your equipped medkits get another charge at level 1. At level 2, you get a revive charge for free, and you heal for more when you do. At level 3, you get an additional free medkit, and your healing abilities heal another point additionally to what they already were doing. Coming over to Sedate, they have an arc thrower that they can stun people with as their secondary weapon. I believe it has the range of a normal gun, basically. The big thing with the arc thrower, I'm going to mention it now, is this ability, and the 3rd rank is Overcharged Capacitors. Miss shots disorient, so it becomes point and click disorient at worst, which is pretty solid. And lastly, they have Battlefield Triage, which is amazing. What this does is when you heal somebody, it reduces their wound times. I don't think it works. It only brings them up to 45%, but this means that if someone gets lowered down to almost no health, they get brought up to that threshold and get wounded for less. If they take minor wounds, it's not going to fix it, but big wounds are reduced tremendously by having a medic on the team to fix it. And because they all have names and distinct appearances, it might be okay for me to not color code them. Usually I would change the outfits of every character I have to generally match a color scheme, at least for each class, so it's more visually obvious who's what. I'm going to try to avoid doing that for a couple episodes. We'll see how I feel about it. Before we move on from our soldiers, let's figure out how we're customizing the Sky Ranger. We have a lot of goofy options. I wasn't expecting this one. Okay, I'm kind of alright with this. I'm not the biggest fan, but this'll work. So let's head over to research. And looking at the research options, we're going to be doing all of this eventually. I'm going to go for alien biotech first and immediately do the officer autopsy. The reason for that is because I want to unlock the proving ground as fast as possible and start putting out a couple of sparks as soon as I can. I don't know when I'll be getting the second one out, but I can get the first one out very, very quickly and I'll be very helpful. My slightly longer term goal is to unlock alien alloy integration, which is a bridging tech that's introduced with the weapons and items overhaul. And what that does is it gives all basic tier 1 abilities, or weapons and armor rather, +1 either to health for armor or to damage for weapons, and that's just a huge deal. But that requires a lot of things. It requires everything you just saw, and I think in addition it also requires resistance radio. I'm not quite sure what the last one is. Coming over to engineering, there's a lot of things we can start off by building. We're definitely going to be building one flashbang grenade 100% of the time. We just need that to deal with sectoids. We're also going to be building the frost bomb, the hunter's axe. And while I would like the Shadow Keeper, it's not really worth building at this moment. I will build it eventually. I'm probably never building the bolt caster though. And again, I would like some stuff here, but not right now. Coming over to build facilities, you can see that I'm too poor to build anything. But it works out fine, because it turns out what I was originally planning to say is that even though I can build something, I'm not going to. Well, it turns out I can't, so we're all on the same page. But I don't want to build any of this stuff. The reason is I'm very short on money, and I'm going to want to probably buy more soldiers at some point, or build items in a rush. None of this stuff is actually worth building for me at the moment. Resistance ring would be nice, training center and guerrilla tactics will be nice later. These middle three really aren't important yet. The only thing I really want to build super quickly though is the proving grounds to start building mechs like I was just talking about, so none of that's a big deal to me. I'm just going to keep excavating to make some supplies back. And before heading over to the geoscape, let's look over our rookies. You'll notice we have a lot more than we do baseline. You start with 16 soldiers baseline and living space. I've bumped that up by 10 to 26. I figure you need at least 6, maybe 8 to make up for the fact that you're running 8-man squads. And I gave an additional 2 because I felt like 16 was just a little bit on the low side. This might be too many. We'll figure it out over the course of the campaign if the setting was right. But our additional rookies are Big Money, Titanium Mayhem, Steel Guardian, Napalm Blizzard, Shrapnel Flurry, Rogue Wallaby, Mirror Face, Hidden Cube, Thunder Golem, White Wolf, Black Cat, Bitter Flare, Hidden Tornado, Stalled Invader, Cosmic Sphinx, Gothic Toaster, Wayward Traveler, Seething Orca, and Iron Rhino. There are a couple of characters in here that I'm really glad to see, just aesthetically. Iron Rhino is fantastic. I know it's not a super interesting design, but I really like this character's design. And let's go send those rookies to work, because boy do we have a lot of jobs for them to do. So, this is the tutorial for proactive deployment for Covert Infiltration. This is giving you a heads up that you're not necessarily meant to do every mission available to you, and that you get more missions offered to you the more regions you have, and it's about picking which missions you want to go on and not just doing them all. We can scan for supplies, which is actually unfortunate. There are many much better things we have available to us than scanning for supplies. The big ones would have been an engineer or a scientist, but you get what you get. Unfortunately, our next faction is not the Reapers, it's the Skirmishers, but we'll still send someone out to get the Reapers, or the Skirmishers rather. I might know that I'm not getting the Reapers, but apparently my mind refuses to accept that. Actually, we should check and see if anyone's stacking bonuses. We have Dodge +5, Mobility +1, Will +3, Will +4, Aim +3. Okay, there are a couple of soldiers that for various reasons I like more. I want them to be on my A-team. So Aim +3 is someone who's going on my A-team. I want to stack a bunch of Aim on the same Marine over the course of a campaign by going on this mission type with him in that slot over and over and over again. So that once he has like +30 Aim about 2 or 3, 4 months into the campaign, he's going to be able to function very differently from a normal Marine. He's going to be an unstoppable god. Because yeah, giving a sniper more aim is nice, but they're already pretty close to 100% when you're using them right anyway. Whereas with a Marine, they're never getting that high unless you do aim stacking on them. So for our aim stacking Marine, I'll be sending out Gothic Toaster. And just to be buddies with them and alongside them, I'll send out Napalm Blizzard. And they don't need anything on them, they're not getting attacked. I should probably check and see if that's true, I didn't read the risk. Moderate soldier wounded, that's fine. Next, I want to be stacking mobility on a soldier over the course of the game as well. That's going to be an assault. So, heading over to this, who's going to be our mobility stacking assault? Iron Rhino seems fit for the job. Whoops. And alongside them, anyone who goes on these missions is going to get promoted to squaddy from being on their first covert op. I'm still just picking people who I like the design of or the name of. I really like Thunder Golem's helmet, so they can go in.
We will begin the covert action immediately.
Now, stacking Will on the same soldier, not really a big deal. Will on anyone is good, and I definitely want to send these missions just to be upgrading rookies to squaddies, but I don't really need to. I wasn't planning to stack dodge on anyone, but now that the option's been presented to me, I'm thinking about it. If I were to stack dodge on like a combat engineer who has built-in a blade of health, that could get pretty cool. But even if I did, they'd still take damage with 100% dodge. It doesn't matter that much. I don't think I value stacking dodge at all. I'm going to pretend that one doesn't exist, just like I'm doing with Will. So we're just sending out rookies that we like then. And I do like Hidden Cube. Alongside him, we can send out Rogue Wallaby. Now, how long do these missions take? 18 days and 15 days? So if I have 14 soldiers ready, with 7 recovering, that's 21. It's probably not correct to send units on these missions. Making the Guerrilla Tactics School cheaper really doesn't matter to me. Getting this is essentially like getting credit, so I will send out a team for this one. I'm going to be passing on the other one, though. I don't think I have the manpower for that, and even this one feels greedy and wrong to me. I'll be sending out Mirror Face and the Will slot, and alongside them, Shrapnel Flurry. Good luck, you two. You know, I really should have checked to see like if any of these had a risk of capture. I was too busy thinking about who should go where that I didn't actually check. Alright, there were no capture risk on any of that, so that was all fine. And with all that out of the way, I think it's finally time to start scanning, which we'll be doing for supplies. No reason to be here. Yes, we can heal our wounded faster. No, it doesn't matter. And let's see what our next mission's going to be. It might take a while. We have a covert op available. This is part of a mission chain where this covert op unlocks a real mission later, and I'll talk about the infiltration mission when we get to it. It's got a Will slot. Let's put someone I like in the Will slot. I'm actually running sort of low on this. I like Big Money's name, but I hate his look, so... Steel Guardian's in the opposite boat. His look is ridiculous, and I'm all about that. For the second slot, we'll throw in White Wolf. Alright, back to scanning. Let's see if we find anything super interesting in terms of missions. Because the first mission can be pretty crazy sometimes. It usually isn't, but I've gotten Psionic Storm on my first retaliation, and ever since then I'm just expecting the worst. So now we can go straight into Advent Officer Autopsy and unlock the Proving Grounds. I don't think we're actually going to have the money to make it when we unlock it, which is a slight problem with this tech route. But we will on the 10th, that's for sure, because we'll clear the alien debris and get these supplies. Yeah, we definitely can't build it immediately. We're going to be too poor for that. But we do unlock the Proving Ground at least.
I've updated our current objectives based
and now let's go for modular weapons because it's the most important thing. How far off of this are we actually? We need 125 supplies, we're at 80, so we're pretty close to getting the money for this. The alien debris is cleared, and that means that we can immediately use the money we get from clearing it to build a Proving Ground. And as a matter of fact, I do want you to speed it up, because getting this mech out faster, this spark rather, is really important. Sparks, I'll talk about them when I get to them more. They've been overhauled with the Proficiency Class Pack as well. There's 3 different kinds of sparks now: Artillery, Infiltrator, and Pioneer. And specifically Pioneer, I think, are far and away the best one. And they also have the most clearly defined niche that no one else really fills. I'll talk about it more when I'm actually making the spark, though. For now, we're going to keep scanning here. We have finished the Covert Op, and... what was this one for? This is just telling me that I get fatigue from Covert Ops. Oh, this is the one for finding a scientist. All right. So, we got promotions on those 2 characters, and now we've unlocked another Covert Op, which is an Infiltration. So for this mission, you can see it's an infiltration mission. It has a sit rep down here for extra reinforcements getting dropped in. It's going to be a scientist rescue mission. When we get a loadout, there's this tutorial here that is essentially saying the more troops you bring to the mission, the more gear they have, the worse it's going to be. You can see you have 2 optional slots, and they're really not optional. It's just going to make it take longer to do the mission. Oh no. This mission might not be doable. High explosives will help. Okay, so Psionic Storm. Not the worst thing to get in a late game mission. But that's because in a late game mission, an Advent Priest or a Sectoid isn't a big deal. In the early game, if you encounter an entire pod of Sectoids, it's a nightmare. Difficulty easy? Don't lie to me. Don't you condescend to me, game. This is blatantly untrue. Is my Templar ready? Steel Guardian's ready as well. I can make him into an assault, get 2 melee soldiers on the team. I'm probably building a second flashbang immediately for this. I don't want to pass up on this mission. So I'm going to take this man. Oh man, this is leaving me pretty strapped for my terror mission on the 20th. I'm still doing it. We're making this character into an assault because we have to at this point if we want to do this mission. I'm considering bringing White Wolf as well and promoting him to an assault as well. But counting whoever it was, Iron Rhino, who's going to be an assault, that would put us at 5 assaults. Which is too many, like by a lot. Alright, I'm going to take this character as a second combat engineer. Congratulations on being the Swiss Army Knife class. We're going to be switching him over to the shotgun. It's just very, very helpful to have big damage weapons and flamethrowers when we're dealing with a swarm of sectoids. I might just be committing campaign suicide here. You'll know that I'm not doing that because I upload this video and I prepare multiple videos in advance. But dear God, this looks like a train wreck. This is the second time in like the past week of testing that I've seen Psionic Storm on one of the first missions. Christ. Alright, what's the next thing? Alright, so I'm either bringing rookies, which is not possible, or I'm bringing everyone that already has a class, and I think still another rookie on top of that. Yeah, so even if I bring every class I have, we'll still have to bring another rookie. Now, I think it's worth leaving the Marksman behind to go on the next mission, because I know Marksman's not going to do well. We're going to be like trying super hard to get into weird positions to break cover. We need someone running forward throwing grenades, and rookies are way better at doing that than a Marksman. I'll bring him over to Black Cat. Who was the other rookie I picked at random? Big Money? Yeah, sure. We have both combat engineers on this mission, which sounds right to me. I'm going to give the Frost Bomb to my Sapper. Wherever my medic is. Oh, I am going to have to do color coding, aren't I? Yeah, I think I was looking right at him. I'm going to have to color code these guys. It's fine. They'll still be colorful, just in a different way. But this medic's going to be taking our flashbang grenade. The arc thrower might be better than a pistol just this once. It says damage 3 to 6, armor pierce 1,000,000, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't do any of that. Do I want to build a second flashbang? Probably. If I do, I want to give it to my Templar. No, I want to give it to a rookie. Maybe. I've got a rocket and a grenade and flamethrowers on this guy, which makes it sound like he has better things to do than flashbanking. I think it goes to a rookie. So I'll give Big Money a second flashbang, which I have to build now. Do I actually have the money? Okay, good. I have enough money to build another one, which is important because I might have to for the next mission as well. Alright, you'll notice the squad looking a little bit differently this time. Hero classes always look like their hero class. It doesn't matter what color they are. Assaults are going to be focused on red, combat engineers on orange, sappers on gray, marksman on black. You're a rookie, so you haven't been color coded yet, which is why I got confused. Also a rookie. Field medics on white. And this feels like I am like sending everything I've got at this one mission, because it's kind of what I'm doing. Let's not pretend. I guess it's technically better for a rookie to have this flashbang grenade. His actions will be less valuable. The field medic has more aim. Like, not a lot more. 3 more. 2 more, rather. But it's still more. You should probably make sure everyone's actually carrying the second grenade. Alright, this is the closest thing I have to throwing everything I've got at a problem. Let's quickly go over how infiltration works before I resign myself to my fate and hit confirm. You can see I'm at a total duration of 12 days here. That's how long it's going to take before the mission goes off. The base infiltration time is only 8 days and 14 hours. There's no one with bonds here, which would reduce it. And because of the extra soldiers and extra gear, I'm not quite sure what qualifies as extra gear, there's different modifiers for everything, but generally bigger, heavier things take more time. There's gonna be 3 days and 10 hours longer. It also limits the maximum amount of infiltration, but I'm planning on going as soon as we can anyway, so that shouldn't matter. This entire mission basically comes down to how well we get our opening off. If we can wipe out a pod and then quickly handle the reinforcements, we're golden. But I do think this squad is able to handle Psionic Storm, but getting Psionic Storm as your first mission, well, it's not gonna be my first. I'll play something else from an assault before then, but that's gonna be rough. Good luck. There are at least several people there. It's not just the scientist. I don't know the icons well enough. We have Field Medic, Combat Engineer. I would guess that's an assault. I think these are gonna be optional people we can rescue in the area, though. Anyway, good luck. Jesus. I was not expecting that. I was worried about that, but I wasn't expecting it. We can get rookies, which is basically supplies in a different form. Looks like we're gonna get some rookies.
Avenger plotting new course.
I'm at 8 soldiers right now, which means if a mission pops, I have exactly enough men to tell everyone to go and they'll be able to fill out a squad. Speak of the devil. This is perfect, though. Extract Advent Supplies is a type of mission that is very different than normal missions, and it doesn't matter how good the squad is. If we got something like Protect or Assault anything, it would be a lot harder. But going in here, you can see the lost are available. We get bonus mobility in the first turns, which is actually pretty nice. But we can send 8 rookies to this mission, and it would be fine, which is good, because we're probably doing almost exactly that. We are also just out of soldiers. Like, completely out of soldiers. Our marksman's available. And then I believe it's just every rookie we've got. Yep. Good thing we didn't send that last mission. And when we get into this mission on the next episode, I'll explain to you exactly how and why it's so different, and why Gatecrasher 2 Electric Boogaloo is not going to be a problem. Because I assure you, this is fine. Anyways, I've been Rather Incoherent. Hope you enjoyed the first episode of XCOM 2, and I'll see you in the next one.